In my last video about the chicken treats, you probably saw at the end that I gave a little sneak peek about what this episode is going to be about. If you didn't see that one, go check it out. But today we're going to be looking at the Little Giant Still Air Incubator. I ordered some hatching eggs from Hatchery, and they should be shipping any day. I don't have them yet, but it's always good to get your incubator prepared before the eggs arrive, so I'm going to show you how to get started on that. As I said in previous videos, I don't have a rooster anymore, so my only choice was to get hatching eggs online. You can buy them locally, you can get them from lots of different hatcheries, you can even get some on eBay. I went with Hatchery just because I've gotten chicks from them before and I had a really good experience. And also because a lot of hatcheries are sold out of basically everything right now, and they were one of the few that still had some available. I don't know if they still do right now, but at the time that I ordered them, they did have some. Now, when the eggs hatch, they're not for me. They're going to go to a good home afterwards, but I'm not ever going to pass up an opportunity to hatch eggs because it's something that I enjoy doing. I love working with animals. And I thought it would be a good experience to teach you guys and show you guys how to go ahead and hatch eggs on a budget, because incubators can be really expensive. I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of incubators out there that are a lot better than this one, based off of the reviews I've heard and just based off of the basic things I've learned about this one in my research. I have used other incubators before that I thought were really nice, but times are tough for a lot of people, so I wanted to show how to do it on a budget, and that it can be done even if you don't have the fanciest incubator out there. Here's the item number, because this brand does have a few different models. And then here's a close-up look at some of the features. This incubator does not include an egg turner, but you can buy it separately, but the egg turner was pretty pricey, so for the sake of the video, since I wanted to show how to do this on a budget, I decided not to get the egg turner. I'll just do it by hand. And you can also buy these items as well if you wanted to add that on just to make life a little bit easier. And if you're interested in quails, you can get quail egg turners for this incubator. Oh, don't mind that noise in the background. That's just Eva playing with her ball pit. Before you get any incubator, I highly recommend that you do a lot of research, but also read the manual. I'm not a huge fan of reading manuals, I'm not going to lie, but we're dealing with living creatures here, so you have to take something like this very seriously. Before you start to incubate eggs, you should always wash your incubator, even if it's never been used before, but especially wash it after it's been used, because any bacteria or germs from the hatch could potentially make future eggs sick, because eggs are covered in tons and tons of little teeny tiny pores, and you don't want any germs getting into the eggs and making the future embryos or future chicks that you put in this incubator sick. So here's the part where the eggs would go. More information I'm gonna have to read. So you would put the eggs right here, and let me move so there's better lighting. So you can see there's like little divots right there, and that's where you would fill this up with water for humidity, because if it's not humid enough, the chick's not going to be able to hatch successfully because it's going to stick to the shell and it's going to dry out and have a really hard time hatching. Here's what it looks like with the lid on. I really like that it was made in the USA. That's another reason why I went with this one. And then on the screen here, it'll show you the temperature and the humidity. Obviously, I'm going to set that up and show you all that in a minute. And then, like I was just saying earlier, eggs are filled with teeny tiny little pores, and there's living creatures inside, so they're going to need some airflow and some circulation. So just go ahead and remove these little things from your incubator. You don't really need those. You can throw them away if you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and wash this, and then I'm going to fill it up with some water for the humidity, get it set up, and make sure it's running properly, so that way if there is any issues, I still have time to get a replacement one before the eggs arrive. So once we have it set up, we'll check back and I'll show you how the test run goes. I'm not going to start off with too much water because I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and see what the humidity is reading. And then based off that, I'll know if I need to add more or take some out. This is one of my eggs from one of my chickens outside, but I'm going to show you this just for an example. So if you receive hatching eggs in the mail, or if you have a rooster and you get hatching eggs right from your own backyard, the proper way to store them before they're ready to go into the incubator is going to be like this. Pointy end down, and then the round end with the air cell you want to keep upright like this. As the chick develops inside of the egg, this air cell at the bottom is going to grow a little bit larger, and then right before they're ready to hatch, they're going to break into that and start breathing air for the first time, and then it's always this round end where they're going to start hatching from. And once my hatching eggs arrive in the mail, we're going to go into more detail about that. And then as they start to incubate and the embryos start to develop, I will also candle the eggs and show you the development there. And you can see more about what I mean with this air cell. So far, this incubator seems pretty straightforward and easy to use. The cord comes unattached in the box, so you just unwrap it, plug that part in right there, put your lid on top, and then just make sure that everything is shut properly. Make sure that this fits over that. You don't want too much air getting in because then you could lose heat. Oh, and by the way, Eva's in here keeping me company while I set it up, but this room does have 2 doors that will be shut, so there's no way that she'll be able to get in here and disturb the eggs. That's something to keep in mind. If you have kids or pets, make sure you can put this in a room where you can make sure that there's no access to it unless you allow it and you're there to supervise. You don't want anything accidentally messing with this or bumping into it. Now it's plugged in, and it's already showing the temperature and the humidity, so you can push the button here where it says set, and then it'll show you the temperature that you want it on. Now, give or take a couple. If it's a little slightly above or slightly below, that's okay. But try to keep it as close to that as possible. And then hold this down. So it was really simple. All you do is hit the set button, and then it'll flash on the screen the desired temperature, and it'll slowly start to rise and heat up. You want this to be around 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit to 100.5 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't really want it to go any lower than that, and you don't really want it to go any higher than 102. So that's why it's really important to go ahead and test it a couple days prior to incubating your eggs so you can make sure that it's in a good spot, free of any drafts, and that it's working correctly. In the early stages, you want your humidity to be around 50 to 55%. And then the last few days of incubation, you want to increase the humidity to 70% because they're going to need a lot more humidity so that they don't stick to their shells and so that they can hatch properly. So that's it for that one. Make sure you subscribe and check back because hatching eggs is a 21-day process, so there's going to be a few different parts to this series. The eggs should be arriving any day, so when they do, I'll show you how to set the eggs, get them started in the incubator, and then after they've been incubating for about a week, check back again because then we're going to candle them and see if there's any life. I'll show you how to do that, and then I'll also show you how to get ready for the final stages of incubation once we cross that bridge. And then, of course, I'll show you the hatching process and how to care for the newly hatched chicks before they go off to their new home. In the meantime, here's some really cute footage of some of the baby chicks that we got in at the store recently.
There we go.
They look good. Look how tiny this one is compared to them. Because I know buff Brahmas can come in a bantam variety. I wonder if this one is. This one is so tiny.